Hey, how you doing? So listen, today I got this story for you about silica gel packs. You ever heard of silica gel packs? Well, I think everybody's really seen them, but you're not too sure what they are, what they do. But this is what they look like. These little packets that come with things that you buy, like shoes, pocketbooks, clothes, whatever the case may be. And you see these little packets in there with them. You know, sometimes you buy headphones, whatever the case may be. But you always see these little packets. They tell you don't eat them, throw them away, they're dangerous. But you know what? Don't throw them away. I got a story that's going to tell you what they're good for and what you can use them for. You're going to like this one. So hang in there because here we go.
Zombie apocalypse.
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you again and welcome back to the show. Thanks for stopping by. As always, hope to just find everybody safe, healthy, and in good spirits. And remember, if you're new here, definitely hit that subscribe button. You hit that bell icon this way next time I come out with a video. And a thumbs up always helps. I appreciate everybody who does that. And comments. Definitely leave your comments. I like to talk to you. I like to hear what's going on. And I'll definitely get back to you. I promise that. You leave me a comment, I will get back to you. So yeah, today I got this story about these silica gel packs they're called. Silica, they Silica, silica. These little packets. I'm sure you've all seen them when you buy things. They say don't eat on them, throw them out. This is like a mini pack sorbent for product freshness. Feels like there's like little salt tablets in there. This is what it looks like. See in the back. I don't know if you can see it. Actually, looks like little salt tablets inside there. You hear it? But yeah, I got a couple of them here. I pulled out of some. They even come inside medicines. Like if you buy medicine or something, or you get some kind of medicine, I got a bunch here. Um, they're in there, and it's to keep them fresh. Okay. But I came across this interesting story that kind of tells you what you can actually use these for. To hold on to them. So I'm going to read it to you. This way, you get an idea what's going on. You should have saved these. You should have saved those silica gel packets that come with your purchases, and here's why. They tell you to throw them away. They tell you not to eat them. Some might tell you that they are dangerous. But these little packets of silica gel, also known as desiccant, might save the life of your tech, of your technology, your tech, whatever they want to call it. I was reminded of this by a post by ZDNet tech colleague Dave Gertwitz, who recently had the misfortune of dunking his AirPods Pros into his morning brew. He took a few silicone gel packets, threw them into an airtight box with his dunked AirPods, and left them there for a day. As someone who has cleaned up, dried up, fixed up, and also commiserated with owners over dead tech, I thought I'd chime in here with some of my thoughts about drying up soaked tech. When they say the word tech, they're talking about electronics. I guess you guys know that. It just kind of, why can't they just say electronic? Why got to say soaked tech? What is silica gel and how does it work? Silica gel is a desiccant, 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 which is a fancy way of saying it absorbs moisture. Actually, technically, it absorbs moisture, but the difference is not important here from the atmosphere. So it absorbs moisture from the atmosphere. It can take in some 40% of its weight in water. And it can bring the humidity of the air around it down to about 40%, assuming enough silica gel and that the container is sealed. I guess it depends on how big your object is that you're trying to dry out, how many packets you have to use. And no, you cannot use rice to dry things out. It's not only that this doesn't work, but it also fills your device with yucky rice particles. Now, it's funny because I remember years ago people saying you drop your phone in water, someone throwing in a bucket of rice and it works. And I think it worked for a few people, This guy here saying it doesn't work and you get rice particles. So, again, everybody has their own opinion on things. You never know until you try it yourself. I always say that, do what you got to do because you could ask 5 people the same thing about a movie and they'll give you different answers. and you won't know about that movie until you go see it yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing about people. They might tell you something about this person's no good, this and that. You don't know that until you go meet that person, talk to them yourself. Do your own research on things. You know, you could take a little bit of what people say, but until you really do your own research on something or try something yourself, don't take anybody's word for anything. Believe me. The purpose of those little packs of silica gel that you find alongside items you buy is that they are used to keep the surrounding air drier than the ambient air, reduce corrosion, and inhibit mold growth. This brings us to the first problem with silica gel packets. They've been out in the air absorbing moisture for weeks, months, or maybe even years, and how much more moisture that they can catch and hold might be limited. You can recharge silica gel by heating it, or you can buy fresh stuff, either in a bag or in a little package. You can also use a product called Damp Rid, which they also have in like these Home Depots or whatever. They have something called Damp Rid. And all the stores probably have it. Little package things you hang up, it sucks up the moisture in the air. If you like to be prepared for any aquatic, like water mishaps, then you might want to consider buying a few pre-made moisture-absorbing bags, specially designed for electronics. They're only a few bucks and have a long shelf life. Another thing to note about silica gel is that it doesn't dry out electronics. Instead, what it does is that it dries out the air, which means that you need to evaporate that moisture into the air for the silica gel to catch it. This is why it's a good idea to put the item that needs to be dried in a box with the gel packets and to keep the box in a warm room. That said, don't put it somewhere hot like on top of a radiator or in direct sunlight, as the heat might damage the device you're trying to dry out. You should also remove any visible liquid before placing it in the box to reduce the amount of work the silica gel has to do. And then you wait a day, a couple of days, a week. Okay, but does it work? To answer this question, we need to know how water damages your gadgets, how water damages electronics, short circuiting. A short circuit is where electricity inside a device takes a path that it shouldn't, which turns into causes damages. So electricity inside a device takes a path that it shouldn't, which in turn causes damage to your electronics. Pure distilled water is not conductive, but the more contaminants that are in the water, add tap water, seawater, cola, coffee, mud, the more conductive the water is and the higher the likelihood of a powered device being damaged. If a device is dropped into a liquid and immediately stops working, most likely this damage has been caused by a short circuit. This is why it's a good idea to remove the battery from a wet device whenever possible and not power it on until it dries out. Corrosion. If your device didn't die immediately when you're exposed to liquids, then the next thing to worry about is corrosion. Corrosion is a long-term thing that builds up over time. It can cause tremendous amounts of damage, eating away circuit boards and components. Corrosion is a long-term thing that builds up over time. It can cause tremendous amounts of damage, eating away circuit boards and components. I think I read that twice, didn't I? Corrosion can be cleaned off with something like contact cleaner or alcohol pads, but that won't fix the damage. And I find that once corrosion has begun, all you can do now is slow it down. That's all you can do once it starts. This guy says he lost count of the number of devices. He has lost count of the number of devices he's come across that just died for no apparent reason. But when you open them up, you see that the reason was that at some point a liquid spilled into it, and that in turn caused corrosion to form. This is very common with games, consoles, and handheld devices. This corrosion looks like a fine greenish gray powder, which we in the business call the green crusties. Physical damage. Water can get into displays and speakers or into buttons and switches, rendering them inoperative. Sometimes drying out a device fixes this, such as in the case of switches, but it can cause permanent damage to components such as displays. In fact, the fact is that a short circuit can kill your device before it gets anywhere near a packet of silicone gel. Also, you might have been lucky and avoided a short circuit, but still have problems from corrosion down the line. Excuse me 1 second. I need to add some moisture to my throat. Maybe these freaking Silica packs are drying me out. I don't know. I tend to think of the actions that are taken following a device suffering water damage as little more than buying time. Now it might buy months or years, and it might buy enough time that the device dies of some other cause. But even in situations where a device can be taken apart completely, I can thoroughly clean everything with the alcohol pads or contact cleaning spray. It's virtually impossible to remove any traces of the liquid, especially to remove all traces of the liquid, especially if something's sticky like cola or juice. And where acidic liquids or harsh liquids like salt water are concentrated, corrosion can start almost immediately. Let me read that again to you. And where acidic liquids or harsh liquids like salt water are concerned, corrosion can start almost immediately. In fact, salt water, closely followed by cola, is a death sentence for electronics. Not only is salt water incredibly conductive, which dramatically increases the likelihood of damaging short circuit, but it's also very corrosive. So even if your device survives the dip, corrosion damage might kill it a few weeks or months down the line. Where I can't open up a device for cleaning, I will focus efforts on drying out any spots where liquids can get into the device, places such as charging ports. I might carefully use alcohol pads or spray contact cleaner into these ingress points to try to displace the liquid, but you have to be careful not to cause more damage doing this. Another way that you can use silica packets or the loose silica gel beads is you can put a soak device into a box with them while you get ready to do a more in-depth drying, either yourself or using a professional service such as redo it, whatever. At least putting the device into an airtight box, which is also likely to be watertight, prevents you from spritzing it a second time. I guess spilling something on it. Sometimes they say stuff that just is like so stupid to me. At least putting the device in an airtight box, which is also likely to be watertight, prevents you from spritzing it a second time. That's just stupid. So the bottom line is that those silica gel packets can be useful when it comes to drying out a soaked electronic or gadget. It's a quick and simple thing you can do and doesn't involve opening up a device or doing any manual cleaning, but there are no guarantees. All right, so basically, in layman's terms, after reading some of this crap on here, if your phone falls in water, your AirPods, something falls in water, and try to dry it out the best you can. Put it in some kind of box, airtight if possible. Try to save some of these gel packs. They call them gel packs, but it's more like salt in there. Get some kind of things like this you can draw in with the box with it. Leave it for a couple of days. Let it try to suck the moisture out of there. If you spill soda or salt water or juice onto your laptop or whatever, you can do the best you can to clean it, but probably it's not going to work. If you get corrosion in there, it's going to just start slowly eating away at your electronics. Try not to bring your stuff down to the beach, I guess. That's where salt water is. That's where sand is. You don't want to do that. You don't want to drink around your products. I mean, I have sometimes water up here. I'm drinking around my laptop. I got to be careful. You don't want to spill. Accidents do happen. Don't leave your phone next to the sink while you're washing dishes. It's more about just being careful what we do. You know what I'm saying? You got to try to be careful. This is just kind of like a save all thing, like, you know what I'm saying? If something does happen, an emergency, it's good to have these things around. Um, only because you got to do something. I mean, accidents happen. You want to try to save your phone, whatever the case may be, as quick as possible. You know, these things ain't cheap. Stuff is expensive these days. Laptops, phones, and everything's electronics. Even the kids now, you know, the kids are playing with those little iPads, whatever they're playing, you know, their games and stuff. Their kids are going to spill. Something might happen. So we want to be ready for that, you know? Always better safe than sorry, trying to keep things, you know, dry as best we can, you know? So yeah, so if you do, remember, try to keep some of those silica packs, you know, looking whatever you got, just throw them in a drawer, whatever you got to do. And this way there in case you need them, you know? I hope you got something out of this. Remember, if you're new here, definitely hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon. This way you know it's coming out with a video. Thumbs up always helps. I appreciate that in your comments. All right, guys. So until next time, thank you again for stopping by. I'll see you around. I'm out of here. Take care. So long.